Good afternoon. I'm author Andrea Joyce, the author of 31 Ways to Self Care, 5 Steps to Overcoming Unforgiveness, and my new book, Seeing Past the Storm. I'm going to read an excerpt from the book, the chapter called The Storm Violation. I had done this before, but it was requested that they get to see me read the book. So I want to be obedient to the request. So I thank you for listening. This is my testimony, my story, my life. The storm violation. This is what the Lord says. Cursed is the man who trusts in mankind and makes flesh his strength. Jeremiah 17:5. It's devastating when the one you trust turns on you. In 1990, I thought I would rule the world. I planned my life. I was going to college and would graduate with a political science degree. Then I would go to law school and matriculate with a Juris Doctorate in criminal law. I would be married by the age of 25, have 2 children, a boy and a girl, a nice Pekingese or Yorkie, and live in a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom gated home. Funny how the best laid plans turn topsy-turvy with one incident. As I crossed the stage for my high school graduation, I looked out and smiled at the plans I had made for my life. Graduation, check. Now it was time to go to college. I had registered for my first semester classes, said goodbye to my family, and met my best friends all on the first day of college. My high school sweetheart and I had broken up, so I was ready to enjoy the single life with my girls. We were 17 and ready for fun. We could be found in each other's dorm rooms or parties on and off campus. During one of our adventures, we met a group of boys that were best friends. We hung out a few times and then began dating them. We were inseparable. Where you saw one couple, you saw the other 2. Our friend circle was large. It included the friends we had before we became couples. As freshmen, we could not have cars on campus, yet we were fortunate to have friends with cars. We were also fortunate to have friends with apartments and trailers off campus. We would hang out, cook, listen to music, and party off campus often. One night, after having missed dinner in the cafeteria, one of my best friends and I went to a restaurant off campus for pancakes and eggs. While walking there, we discussed our weekend plans, and a male friend of ours pulled up. He asked where we were going, if we wanted a ride there. We agreed, hopped into his car, and headed to the restaurant. After ordering, he asked if we wanted to hang out with him for a little while. He had gotten in some new rap cassette tapes and wanted us to listen to them. I had been wanting to hear the new Yo-Yo album. I was excited to hear music from a West Coast female rapper, so we agreed. We got to his place and walked in. Walking through his front door, I noticed that there were guys there we had never met. After eating and talking, he suggested I follow him to his room so I could listen to the new music. Since he had a high-tech audio system in his bedroom, it wasn't unusual for us to go in there and listen to music. When I walked into his room, I fully expected my best friend to walk in behind me, as she often did. I knew nothing was wrong until I heard the click of his door lock. I turned toward the door, which he was standing in front of, and asked him why he had closed it. He had never done that before. He mumbled something as he walked toward the stereo. A cold sensation raced down my spine. I no longer felt comfortable with the person I had called a friend for over 6 months. Deciding it was time to leave, I hastened to the door. I reached for it and began unlocking it when I felt him grab me. I never knew fear like I did at that moment. He yanked me away from the door and pushed me down. I fell into the table and chair that were against his wall. I felt a sharp pain, but that pain did not compare to his hand that grabbed me by my throat and tossed me onto the floor. My breath whooshed out of me when I hit the floor hard. I lost my breath at the severe impact. Before I could blink, he was on top of me, grabbing at my clothes and forcing his leg between mine. I was not prepared for this violence, but I knew I had to protect myself at all costs. I began fighting for my life. I used every part of me to keep him from getting the thing he desired most, my jewel. At 105 pounds, I was no match for his 200 pounds, but I was going to fight until I had no more fight left. He took up the challenge. He began hitting me to stop my struggles, but I could not give up. Grabbing my arms with one hand, he held them above my head, cutting off my strikes. I was not completely defeated because I had legs, sturdy legs. I began moving around and using them to knee and kick him. He had been so busy trying to secure my arms, he had moved off me a little. His movement gave me another tool to use to fight. I unleashed a hard knee close to his groin, and it was then that I came face to face with the monster he had become. It was in his eyes that I saw the evil. The friend I had known was gone. In his place was a monster that was bent on robbing me of my voice and my power because of his selfish desire. I continued to struggle. However, he was through dealing with my frantic movements. He stopped pulling at my belt and pants and used his free hand to grab the life out of me. Grabbing me by my throat again, he pushed against my windpipe. He let go of my arm so he could go back to his quest of removing my clothing. I used my freed hands to try to remove his hand from my throat, but I could barely breathe. I felt myself losing consciousness. He continued to apply pressure, and the darkness was coming for me. As it surrounded me, I closed my eyes and wondered if he would rape me while I was unconscious. Thoughts flowed through my mind. Would I live, or was this my last moment? Will my parents mourn me? What would my funeral be like? Would many people attend? I could not think anymore. I was falling into the darkness, when I heard a loud crash. My eyes popped open, and I saw my best friend rushing through the door and pulling my former friend off me. The stranger that was in the living room when we first came in tried to pull her away, but this 100-pound young woman found the strength to fight him off and move my would-be rapist. I could finally breathe again. Air filled my lungs, and I began coughing. My throat hurt, but it also felt so good to draw breath. My friend pulled me off the floor, and we rushed out of the apartment. We ran as fast as we could, terror overcoming both of us. All I could think of was his hands on my throat, and I ran faster. We slowed down after running several blocks. We sat to catch our breath. Tears of fear, shame, betrayal, and joy mixed and streamed down my face. She tried to comfort me, but I would not let her close to me. As I calmed down, a car rolled slowly past us. It was him. He slowed, rolled his window down, and told me to get in the car. Without hesitation, my friend and I ran. We did not stop running until we made it back to campus. I ran straight to my boyfriend's room. I did not care that the campus rule was that girls could not be in the boys' dorm rooms. No one tried to stop me, so I ran to his room and banged on his door. He opened the door after a few knocks, and I looked into the eyes of the man that loved me, and I collapsed into his arms. After calming down, I told him about my experience. The arms that held and comforted me stiffened. The face that had looked at me with compassion and concern now looked at me with accusation. He pulled away and asked me a question that forever changed our relationship. What did you do to cause him to do that to you? My heart dropped and my soul froze. Did the man I trust just change on me? I looked into his face, but instead of his face, I saw the same evil I had seen in my almost rapist. He asked what I had been wearing when the assault happened, if what I had been wearing would have given our friend the wrong idea. I was offended. However, I stood and pointed to the baggy acid wash jeans and the extra large button-down plaid shirt I was wearing. This is what I was wearing, I said, spinning around. How could this outfit give him wrong ideas? He had no response, just looked at me with a pained expression. He could not or would not meet my eyes. Instead, he suggested I lay down. I felt dirty, so I told him I would talk to him the next day, and I went to my dorm and showered. I scrubbed and scrubbed, but I still felt the filth of my trauma. When the water turned to sharp icicles against my skin, I knew it was time to get out of the shower. I went into my room and turned to the only friend that understood me and could comfort me, the liquor bottle. We were underage, however, there were ways for college students to get a bottle of alcohol. I took a long drink and relished in the burning sensation coating my bruised throat. The amber liquid took away some of the pain his heartless hand had caused me. As I continued to drink, the spirits coaxed me into a false sense of serenity, and I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning bleary-eyed and run down. I did not know where I was or remember the events of the night before. My friends were in the room watching me with looks of concern on their faces. One was frowning, one was pacing back and forth, and my third friend, the hero of the evening before, sat on the bed next to me, kindness lighting her brown eyes. Looking at her brought it all back. Someone I trusted, someone I had called friend, had nearly raped me. What had I done to cause it to happen? Question after question plagued my mind as tears began freely falling down my face. Again, my friend tried to comfort me, and again I shrank back. I could not take the thought of anyone touching me, except for the man that had shut me out. My friends tried to advise me, but I would not hear it. They wanted me to go to the police and report it. I would not. They wanted me to tell our resident director. I would not. They soon tired of my stubbornness and left for class. I assured them I would be fine and I would see them after class. As soon as the door closed, I got dressed, walked to the liquor store, and bought myself some Forget My Pain in a bottle. Something that would not question me or try to get me to report something that I felt ashamed of. I walked back to my dorm room and I sat on my cold, narrow bed, took my shoes off, pulled the thick covers over me, and drank until I passed out. I wanted to share an excerpt with you. There's more to this story. My prayer is that this book, Seeing Past the Storm, would help you and bless you in your life to get past any storms that you're facing now or that you faced in the past, and anything that you might encounter in your future. This is my story, my life, my testimony. This is not fiction. These are real occurrences from me, things I dealt with, and how I was blessed to overcome. And I'm still overcoming. You can purchase Seeing Past the Storm at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and for a personalized copy, go to my website, www.authorandreajoyce.com. That's www.authorandreajoyce.com. Thank you so much for your support.